the one, the only, Ben
Morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Iyun to Lean On. Today we're doing Orach Chaim Siman Reish Ayin Zayin 277. We're talking about today opening a door where there's a candle behind it, or the most important halacha that I want to talk about is where in Sif Aleph is mentioned. Let's say the candle is attached to the door. When you open the door, it's oil. It's going to move the oil. So at some point when you're opening it, there'll be more oil by the wick, and it'll light a little more. Or you might tilt it so that the oil will move away from the wick. The light will become dimmer. That's usher, because if you make it closer, then you're over the Malacha Mavir. And if you take it away, you dim it. You're not extinguishing. You're dimming it, so you're over on Machaba. Now, I know the Gemara seems to indicate these things. The Gemara really talks about. This is not what the Gemara talks about. This is the Rishon talk about. The Gemara talks about cases we learned about Memad Likin of adding shemen. If a candle has olive oil, you add oil on Shabbos. That's a malacham d'oraisa mavir. You're causing it to last longer. And if I take oil out, even though I don't take all the oil out, it's not going to. Instead of extinguishing after 2 hours, it'll extinguish after 1 hour. That's a malacha machaba. It's hard to understand because you're not extinguishing it right now, right? You're not making it light longer right now. It's going to light for another 2 hours. You're going to extend the lighting to 4 hours. How is that ma'aber and machaba? Most poskim assume it's an isra skila. Right? If you were warned with 2 eidim and hasra, you have skila for it. So let's deal with what we're talking about today first. First of all, if it comes closer to the oil, the oil comes closer to the wick, so it becomes, you're not adding oil or taking oil away, just the light becomes stronger and dimmer. I don't think that's a problem at all. The reason it's not a problem at all is because you're not doing anything. You're not extending the light. It's not even chati shir, right? Or mosif b'shirin. There's 2 things in halacha. There's called chati shir and mosif b'shirin. Chati shir is when I have half of an isser, right? I eat half a shir of grogeris on Yom Kippur. That's where it's discussed. You're not allowed to eat a grogeris on Yom Kippur, the size of a fig on Yom Kippur. If you eat half of that, it's usher. Now, Rosh Hashanah is also the Rabbana. We pass the Rabbi Yochanan is also midaraisa. But even according to Rabbi Yochanan, you're not chayav kares for that. It's only usher. It's 2 sources for Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan in Mesechus Yuma, and I believe Ayin Gimel, Ayin Daled, 73 and 74, talks about Rabbi Yochanan's reasoning. One understanding of Rabbi Yochanan is that it's a pasuk, kol chelef, right, which includes any type of thing. It's a drasha in the Torah to include chati shir. The other explanation is chati l'tztarufe, because if you do, it's like a gzera. The Torah makes a siyag. The Torah makes a fence. If you do up half of a shir, you might come to the entire shir. Now, when we come to, we're talking about mosif b'shiurin, right? Mosif b'shiurin. There's 2 hours worth of oil. I put another 2 hours worth of oil on Shabbos. So that's something called mosif b'shiurin. It's going to last a little longer. That's not chati shir. That's 1.5 shir, right? You had the shir to light for whatever it was going to light for. Now you add it. So mosif b'shiurin, I think the most is derabbanan. Because if you go back to the 2 reasons of chati shir, what are the 2 reasons? One reason is because kol chelev, even any addition to the shir or any part of the shir, so that would include mosif b'shir. But the other reason, chazi l'tzarufe, right? You already have all the oil you want. You already lit the candle. You're just adding on to the candle. That's not l'tzarufe. You already have the entire shir. By chati shir, you might come to the entire shir. Here you have whatever shir you lit the candle for. You had it. It's like bishul when it's already fully cooked, which is a Michael Ben Drusai, to cook it cold tzarcha, to cook it to make it well done. Or if it's well done, to mitztamik v'yafalo, again, that's, according to kol chelev, chati shir might be asur, but according to the other reason, it's not. And then it's 2 opinions in Rabbi Yochanan's Shita, which is we paskin. Let's say we paskin Rabbi Yochanan for sure. Not like Shlavish. It's not even a suffix. We paskin Rabbi Yochanan, but it's 2 reasons. So one reason d'oraisa should apply, the other reason is not apply. And first of all, the reason d'oraisa is not even kares. It's not even the real punishment. It's just a drasha, kol chelev. So kol chelev applies. The other chazik d'rubit does not apply. So it's a suffix d'oraisa. It's not as chazik isur or poskim. We're talking random words. So therefore it's derabbanan. Suffix d'oraisa l'chumra is derabbanan in that, because I've explained many times. So the most is derabbanan to be mosif b'shiurin. I think that's most Rishonim learn mosif b'shiurin. On Yom Tov, you're allowed to be mosif b'shiurin. For example, if you have 1 oven, right, you're allowed to bake as many, even though you only need 1 loaf of bread, you're allowed to bake bread to add make my whole oven full of bread to bake for the next week. Since I'm already using the oven to bake one loaf of bread, which I need for Yontif, I can fill it up. Mosif Shir and technically is mutter on Yom Tov. On Shabbos, also midrabanan. Now, to take oil, and that's, if you add oil, it should be in most is also midrabanan. Mavir. To take oil away, right? It was supposed to last for 2 hours, now it lasts for 1 hour. So therefore, I can hold here over there chazi litzarufe, because instead of taking out half the oil, you might take out all the oil and extinguish it right now. So both reasons apply. So I would say to be machabe would be chazi shir. Take out some oil, whatever, even a minute amount would be chazi shir, and chazi shir is chazi litzarufe and kol chelev. So it should be also midaraisa. However, you're not chayav skila. You won't be chayav skila for that. But our simon is talking about something far less grave. It's talking about you're moving the oil around. So for a split second, it lights, the wick lights a little brighter, or for a split second it lights a little dimmer. But you haven't changed anything. You haven't changed anything. I think that's completely mutter, because it's not even chatzi shir. You haven't taken oil out. You haven't added oil. Who cares for a second it lights more or not? Right? Tiltal min aside, moving the door. Who cares? There might be a candle attached to it, but the main part is the door. It's not a bastel davar aser. It's not a foundation, right? It happens to be on the door, so you're moving it, but you're not adding or taking away. I don't think, and the Rishonim say it's aser, seemingly daraisa. It's not aser at all, I don't think. In other cases, when you take oil out or add oil, that might be the rabbanan or maybe daraisa, and that's what I have to say about this. That's really all I have to say. It's disturbing to me to see poskim say that it's daraisa and chayav skila. And there's very many nafkaminas. The marbi b'shur would be yasser and the rabbanan. To take out a chatzi shir would be yasser del raisa potentially of chatzi shir, but not chayav skila. I hope you enjoyed today's shir. See you in the next one.